You've never even been in combat. You're about as funny as morning diarrhea. Cringe.
No.
He's so cringy. Copy paste channel. Fat electrician knockoff.
Not copy.
Wannabe black electrician. More like fake
No, don't say mean things.
He's copying the fat electrician. Have you no shame? Shame! Shame!
Oh man, what a weird dream. Anyway, not gonna let any mean comments ruin my day, so let's get into the video. Today we're gonna be talking about how I ripped off the fat electrician and also how I... No, I'm just kidding, but we are going to talk about that. In fact, we're going to talk about quite a few things today, to include how this channel got here, what's happened over the past year, and a few nuggets of wisdom sprinkled in with copious amounts of sarcasm for good measure. And in case you're new here and have no idea who I am and what this video is about, well, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nick, and I am the unfortunate face and the velvety smooth voice behind this channel, Tactically Acquired. Yeah, not very impressive, I know. I'm a grown-ass man with a whole-ass career making videos in my spare time while simultaneously trying to pretend that I'm not constantly sleep-deprived. But you know what? Whatever. We aren't here to discuss my failure to adult correctly. No, instead, this video is to celebrate what is, to me, a significant milestone. 1 year to the day of Tactically Acquired videos. My wife and I are genuinely blown away by how well this channel has been received, and it's thanks to each and every one of you. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am. So again, just thank you guys. All of you are the reason that I do all of this.
Ha! Gay!
Not sure why the memes are roasting me in my own video, but whatever. There is a whole lot to cover from this past year, and let's just go ahead and come out swinging by discussing the elephant in the room. Am I or am I not a fat electrician knockoff? Well, overwhelmingly, according to the vast majority of you, the answer would be a hard no. But there are a dedicated few out there who are very passionate about the fact that I am nothing more than a shameless ripoff of Nick. Not me, Nick, the other Nick, the fat electrician Nick, which, side note, if I ever get a chance to get on the Unsub podcast, we're gonna have to come up with something else other than calling the two of us Nick. In fact, how about this? I'm going to go on record by saying that I am completely fine with being known as Black Nick. Nothing would warm my cold heart more than hearing Rich, aka Angry Cops, call me Black Nick in his black southern gentleman accent. Sorry I'm getting sidetracked again, but it should go without saying that being influenced by someone or something is in fact a thing. My style, my flow, hell, the entire channel format was in fact modeled after the fat electrician. I was inspired by him. That's literally how creativity works. I say so. How dare anyone ever be motivated to pursue something and then model said pursuit after someone that they admire? Don't they know that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? Someone call the coppers immediately on this dark meat electrician imposter. Guys, saying that I'm a ripoff of the fat electrician because I use a thumbnail style similar to his, make jokes in my scripts, and have a good flow to my line delivery has got to be one of the most single-minded, smooth-brain logic things that I've ever heard in my life. Hell, by that logic, the first car ever produced would be the last one. By that logic, no one would ever imitate, improve, or innovate on any existing formula ever. Anyway, I better move on before my wife swings that door open and knocks me clean off my soapbox. That Irish blood comes out feisty every once in a while. Regardless, that's enough about that, because next I want to talk about how we got here, and it all starts with the reason you're all here in the first place. The videos. Now, in case you've literally put zero thought into the logistics of growing a channel, here's a crash course on how to go from 0 to some subscribers. You have to make videos. Which is hella obvious, I know, but it's also a lot harder than it seems. And when it comes to making videos, there's generally two ways you can go about it. You can either A, start lean and get naturally better, or you can B, start lean and force yourself to get better. I chose the latter, which, in hindsight, was probably a mistake. Allow me to explain. Going the route of forcing each video to get better does increase the overall quality, but it's also slow. Painfully, agonizingly slow. When you're constantly trying to improve every single video, that increases the time between videos. Sometimes that leads to explosive growth, but in my case, I'd say this channel growth was moderately better than average, if I'm being generous. I see this all the time in the comment section, like, man, this channel deserves way more subs, or whoa, why isn't this channel blown up yet? And while I appreciate that, I really do, the fact of the matter is that YouTube isn't going to push my channel to the masses if I don't get better about posting more. It's as simple as that, and I'm working on it. Overall, I'm more than happy with how the channel has grown this year, and looking back on it, there is some interesting data to pour over. Now, if any of you have been watching my videos, you've probably noticed that I'm a big numbers guy. I like data and nerding out on it, so you'll have to indulge me as I geek out a bit. So in total, to date, I've posted 57 videos, with 50 of those being long form and 7 being shorts. The first videos were posted on May 16th, 2024, and I purposely made sure to drop 4 videos at the same time. The first video was an introduction to the channel, and the other 3 were meant to kick things off and get the channel to spread across YouTube. And to that end, I'd say it was a success because we hit 100 subs in only 3 days. For context, I had another channel before this one, and it took me something like 30 to 40 videos over the course of a year to hit 100 subscribers. So yeah, if we're doing an AAR on this past year, I'd say a huge sustain was kicking the channel off right with more than 1 video right from the start. Alright, next, let's look at a couple of milestone videos. The first video on this channel to hit 1,000 views was the M1 Abrams video. The first video to hit 2,000 views was the M1070 Het. The first video that flopped was the M113 Needs to Chill Out video. And the video that flopped the hardest ever on this channel was the one that came immediately after, which was the AVLV. Now on the flip side, the video that started to gain some traction on this channel was the Army Diver video. I had a really good feeling about this one. I actually knew it would do well because it's something that not a lot of people know about, which always piques the interest. Okay, so now on to the heavy hitters. The Reaper. This was the first video ever on this channel to hit 20,000 views, and it gave the channel a serious bump in subscribers. At this point in the channel, I was still working my way to that first 1,000 subscribers, which, side note, in case you didn't know, in order to monetize a channel, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. 1,000 subscribers is kinda hard, but actually getting to that 4,000 watch hours, that's what really feels like a drag. It took me like 2,200 subs and another month or 2 to get to that 4,000 watch hour threshold. After this, I went on a bit of an aviation kick, which those videos were at the time really complex for me to edit, and they all flopped in spectacular fashion. But because YouTube is the way that it is, just because a video does bad initially doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. Currently, the Little Bird and the King Stallion video are actually driving quite a bit of traffic to the channel, which is just awesome to see. YouTube isn't like other platforms where all your hard work just vanishes into the ether, never to be seen again after you post it. And now we can talk about the big one, the Booker. The Booker was the video that pushed this channel over the edge, helping me to finally get to that first 1,000 subs. Now I know people have strong opinions on the Booker, especially since it's now canceled, but regardless, I owe a lot to the Booker, the light tank that never was. Now after the Booker, I dropped a couple of field artillery videos that did okay, but not great. But what came next was another leap forward for this channel. Now for context, around this time, I had just taken command of a recruiting unit and had to get qualified at a 2-week school. While I was there, when I wasn't in class, instead of going out on the town, I would lock myself in my hotel room and edit videos. I dropped 2 videos while in that hotel room, to include the ISV and the Master Gunner video. Both did extremely well and gave me the watch hours I needed to finally get monetized, which was a massive milestone for me. That being said, of those 2 videos, the Master Gunner video was the more emotionally charged one because after I made it, I finally decided to tell my army buddies all about the channel. You gotta understand, before the Master Gunner video, I didn't tell anyone about the channel. No one. Now the reason I didn't tell anyone was for 2 reasons. First of all, past experience had taught me that when you're trying to build a channel, the common advice of tell all your friends and family about it is 100% incorrect. Your friends and family probably aren't your target audience, so when you tell them all about your channel and they subscribe, YouTube gets all confused thinking that they are your audience when in fact, they aren't. Let your channel grow organically and eventually you'll attract the correct audience. And the second reason I didn't tell anyone about this channel is because when you're trying to build something for yourself, everyone, and I mean everyone around you wants to give their input on how they do it. Or they'd say stuff about why you're wasting your time on this endeavor, or hey, maybe you should make videos about this thing, or have you thought about doing XYZ, because they've clearly done more research than you have on the subject, and it's all bullcrap. It's all bullcrap. It's demoralizing, and growing a channel is hard enough without having even more external distractions. So instead, I decided to keep this to myself until the channel made a little bit of money. And guess what? Now that it's making some money, even though it's a relatively small amount, instead of people being negative about it, they now want to know how they can do it for themselves. And inevitably, once I explain the process and how I dedicate between 20 and 30 hours a week to this channel in my spare time for what effectively equates to $1.45 an hour, they quickly lose interest and go back to watching the sports ball game highlights or whatever the hell they were doing. Anyway, getting sidetracked again. Now, I expected for my buddies to think that the Master Gunner video was decent, but what I didn't expect was all the positive feedback I got on it. I even interviewed a guy for a recruiting position who had just gotten back from a deployment, and he said he found my channel overseas and watched it on night shift, which was pretty cool, not gonna lie. But anyway, after the Mike Golf video, I then proceeded to drop my most complex video at the time, which was about Army basic training. This is another one that didn't do well right out the gate, but it is now currently my most viewed video on this entire channel. Now, after the basic training video, I tried a different video format using a green screen. I figured I could pump out more videos this way, but many of you made it very clear that you did not like this format at all, so I quickly scrapped this experiment. Now, moving on, I dropped one of my most favorite videos I've ever made, which is about the mod Deuce. And while I loved it and you all loved it, YouTube did not feel the same at all and decided to age restrict the video, which completely stopped its spread to new viewers. Lame. Now after that, I dropped a few more flops before I had another video take off. The ACH-47 Alpha Guns A Go-Go. I knew this video would do well because it had all the right sauce. It's an interesting topic, there's not a lot of videos on it, the script was tight, the music was on point, the sound design was complex. This video was just chef's kiss. Now, as much as you all love the Guns A Go-Go video, you all made it collectively clear that you did not like the longest, most time-sunk video I've ever made about the Marine Corps' actual deadliest sniper, Chuck Mawhinney. For the record, I read a whole book to make that video, but whatever, it's all good. I'm glad it's out there, I'm glad I made it to forever glorify a great man and his equally great and accomplished life. So yeah, it's been a ride with these videos, both in making them and in execution, because what you guys don't see is all the dumb shit that slows the entire process down. But I think I've ironed out all the major kinks that have happened during the first year, to include, but not limited to, running into computer issues so severe that I was forced to buy not one, but 2 new computers because I'm an idiot, my video editing program CapCut constantly crashing during large projects. Then there was the ByteDance ban shutting down all of their sub-companies to include TikTok and, you guessed it, CapCut. Yeah, that was super fun. About 20 hours invested into the hour-long Chuck Mawhinney video when I was completely locked out of the project for several days. Now, after the ban was lifted, I finished that video, then I decided that I was never gonna let that happen again. So I quit using CapCut and had to teach myself an entirely new video editing program from scratch, which was all the fun. It was great. Then I finally got fed up with all the autofocus issues of my Fujifilm cameras, which forced me to sell all of them at a loss and buy into a whole new camera system and learn how to use that. Then I was having audio issues, so I had to buy a new shotgun mic, only to realize that I had bought the wrong type of mic for the room that I film in, so I had to buy yet another type of microphone, and to top all of that off, all of this was happening while I had just taken command of an Army National Guard recruiting unit in the middle of the biggest recruiting slump in a decade, while being given an absolutely no-fail mission from my boss.
Damn!
I'm sorry.
Now, the reason I told you all of that wasn't to get any kind of sympathy, because Lord knows the Army has gotten me accustomed to embracing the suck and moving on. No, I'm telling you all this because when you combine all of that with also trying to be an active husband and father, well, hopefully you get some idea as to how challenging this year has been. But on the flip side, hopefully you can also see how excited I am to finally see all of this starting to pay off. That being said, I have also learned that I have an unhealthy work-life balance at the moment, since my current schedule consists of wake up early, work on the channel before work, go to work, come home from work, and then work on this channel until I inevitably pass out. this is not sustainable. So I very recently decided to get back into my favorite hobby, which is riding motorcycles, and I got myself a new one. Yes, you heard that right. I'm using this channel as an excuse to buy a motorcycle. It's your fault. Yes, all of y'all's fault that I had to reluctantly go out and buy this thing. This has got to be the most first world of first world problems, but whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, let's get this moving, because now let's talk about the content that this channel covers or has covered. So initially, when you're starting a channel, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what direction you want to take it. And in the case of this channel, I started with what I knew, which was military equipment and military jobs. Now, I try to keep the topics vaguely similar so it helps the algorithm to find my audience, but occasionally I do switch it up. Now, for those of you in the comment section who have said that you want me to go back to making more MOS videos, just trust me, I hear you. I've also heard some of you say that I should make more historical stuff, and trust me, I hear you as well. Now, really what you're probably going to see moving forward is a hopefully healthy mix of both. I have a Word document with over 450 video ideas, so trust me, there is no shortage of things that I want to talk about, which brings me right along to the next point of discussion, which is where do we go from here? I have a very clear vision of where I want this channel to go, but there are some things preventing me from executing on those bigger ideas. And it's the same two things that keep most of us in check, which is time and money. And since I work a full-time job and like a dumbass, I decided to start doing this channel at the peak of my career instead of when I was at a low point with plenty of free time on my hands like most successful YouTubers do. I'm pretty much screwed when it comes to creating more time. So all that leaves is I need more money. With more money, I can hire a video editor, which in turn would allow me to make more videos. Now, as I said earlier, currently the channel makes some money, which is an insane accomplishment for the first year. I am not downplaying that at all, and I am insanely grateful. But it's not enough to pay an editor. I know we're gonna get there by next year for one of two reasons. First, the channel will just continue to grow. It just will. There is no doubt in my mind. My wife, who is a wonderful supporter of what I'm trying to do here in more ways that we're going to discuss soon, actually, is fully on board with me sacrificing even more of our time together so that this channel can continue to grow and thrive. This is a public service announcement for the men out there. Men, stop chasing these shallow women. Find you a good woman who will support you, motivate you, and push you to succeed. This channel is a product of 10 years of marriage and 10 years of failure after failure after failure, with her by my side for every single second of it. That's a hard combination to find, and I'm grateful to have found my partner in this adventure. And it also doesn't hurt that that booty hot too.
Yeah, boy.
And the second reason the channel will continue to grow is because hopefully you all will like what comes next, which is merch. My wife has spent countless hours turning my insane ideas into reality, and in the very near future, we will begin dropping merch. That said, I'm doing mine a little different than what most YouTubers would do. It's gonna look less like merch and more like its own brand with its own name. More to follow on that, but if you want to support this channel and what we're doing here, then buying some merch will help to fund the things we need to make even more videos. Be on the lookout for that sometime this summer. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I've got a ton more videos coming, and I love it when you guys suggest ideas for future videos. And if you still think that I'm a fat electrician knockoff, well, do me a favor and spam Nick's comment section and let him know that I exist and that I need to get on the Unsub podcast so that we can hash this out face to face. Well, that's it for today, you guys. And again, I just want to say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Without y'all, none of this would be possible. And remember, as always, you degenerates better let me know what videos you demand of me next. Y'all take it easy. CT6 out.